All right, welcome back. Harmless Dave here, talking about the media, talking about politics, talking about war, and talking about Vladimir Putin. This is on my radar because of all the things going on right now. You look at what's happening up in Canada and the protest and how the protest is being vilified and how they're denying the truck drivers food and fuel, and they're just vilifying anybody who's connected with that movement, also trying to debank these truckers as they had gotten a whole bunch of support from, not GoFundMe? Yeah, not Give, Send, Go, but GoFundMe. I believe they're trying to go over to Give, Send, Go because, again, we need just alternative platforms now to do anything. So let me get back to Putin. I mean, the truckers are really big news, but nuclear war with Russia is a slightly bigger issue, just a little bit bigger, right? So if you're worried about, paying $3-4 a gallon for gas, believe me, it's only going to get worse if we go to war against Russia. Now, a couple of stories that really caught my attention was his conversation about the Ukraine. He says, I want to stress it one more time. And by the way, this comes from the UK Daily Mail. And this is Vladimir Putin talking. I want to stress it one more time. I've been saying it, but I very much want you to finally hear me. So his conversation here with the media, trying to convince them that what he is saying he actually means, but yet people just keep dismissing it. And if you're a neoliberal on the MSNBC War Channel, you don't hear this stuff. It's just Putin is a bully. All right, so let's listen to this. This is Vladimir Putin. I've been saying it, but I very much want you to finally hear me and to deliver it to your audience in print, TV, and online. Do you understand it or not that if Ukraine joins NATO and attempts to bring Crimea back by military means, the European countries will be automatically pulled into war conflict with Russia? All right, full stop. Full stop right there. I know, I'm trying to be dramatic here, but this is pretty dramatic stuff. I mean, look, whether you like this about me or not, I'm vehemently anti-war, vehemently anti-war. I believe in the non-aggression principle. I believe that if you are attacked by an aggressor, you certainly have the right to defend yourself. But we've been poking around in that region now for decades, and I don't listen to anything the neocons say. Mitt Romney can go pound sand. Liz Cheney can lose her next election, which she's going to, and then write a book about how horrible it was that all these America First type people and libertarians came along and wanted the United States to just back off. How about we back off, right? But we don't. So Putin goes on here. Of course, the military potential of NATO and Russia are incomparable. We understand it. But we also understand that Russia is one of the leading nuclear states. Okay, are you getting a little bit concerned yet when you hear that Russia is one of the leading nuclear states? And this is still Vladimir Putin talking here. He's explaining that Russia has nuclear weapons, and by some modern components, it even outperforms many. All right, so what he's saying is we don't have the ground troops, we don't have a lot of the other things that NATO has, but we got nukes. We got nukes. And, nukes mean pretty much the end of the world. I don't know where that clock is, if it's like 1 minute to midnight right now or 2 minutes to midnight. I mean, does anybody care? I mean, I get it. You're paying a lot for gas. I get it. It seems that mandates and lockdowns and all these things have completely just moved us into another area where, yes, we should be concerned a lot about our individual situation and our autonomy just to function. But here we go. Might be time to get right with God. Just throwing it out there. He goes on, there will be no winners, and you will be pulled into this conflict against your will. You won't even have time to blink your eye when you execute Article 5. That's the collective defense of NATO members. Mr. President Macron, of course, doesn't want this, and I don't want it. And this is why he is here torturing me for 6 straight hours. I don't know. That's the translation I got. So Macron torturing Vladimir Putin for 6 hours in a meeting with Macron. The news media is reporting that this meeting between Putin and Macron went really well. Oh, man, it went really well, except that Putin had to remind the world that he's got nukes, and that little clause there where, you know, if NATO decides that they're going to do some crap with Ukraine, then the mutual assured destruction clause is then activated. And this is something that's been around for quite some time. Of course, it's worded a little bit differently here, but that's what this is. Anybody care about this? Not a big deal. Go back to your regularly scheduled program. Being vaporized, no big deal. Breathing radiation, trying to survive with no food, no electricity. Yeah. Okay. That's what we want, right? We better wake the bleep up, people, on so many levels. You know, a lot of us have our own kind of little myopic view of certain issues. And to me, it's gotten to the point now where it's about self-preservation. You know, I might disagree with you, right? You may not like me, but at this point, I care more about myself, my family. I got a kid who's going to turn 8 this month. I'm a little concerned about his future, if he's going to have a future. Tough to have a future when nuclear war is about to happen, right? And look, I'm not trying to scaremonger. I mean, there are people that do this every single day, websites like antiwar.com, and I agree with most everything they say, and people just don't take it seriously. And here's the bottom line with Vladimir Putin, right? So you've been taught for the past 5 or 6 years to just hate Putin, right? It's Russia is bad, then you got a dossier, and then you've got the Russia hoax, and then, you know, they funded Trump's campaign, so we had to get Trump out of there. And, you know, you've got obviously Hunter Biden, who has some interest there in the Ukraine. So it's almost like they portray this as Trump was for Russia, and then the other media says, well, Biden, Hunter, is for or involved with the Ukraine, which he is, right? So that's how it's framed in the American mind these days. The casual observers who watch the news and go, oh, Putin, he's bad. He's really bad. He wants to attack us. No, he wants us to back off. That's what he wants. He doesn't want NATO and the United States creeping into that territory. He doesn't want it. And it's like if a whole bunch of troops decided to creep into the southern part of, or the northern part of Mexico, right? And they were really close to our border, and they were all lining up there. They were from another country, or they were from multiple countries. And we would go, why are they? That would be provocative, right? See, this is the libertarian view, and I agree with it 100%. The more I examine this, the more I think we are provocateurs. We're not even nation building anymore. We're just trying to threaten nations to build up our military, to fund these military contractors, and it never ends. And people on the left and on the right, in many cases, agree now. We agree. As long as you're not a neoliberal, then you agree with the warfare state, or a neoconservative. That's why the word neo is before those ideologies, because it's not really either one of those two things. If you're a progressive, you're like Jimmy Dore. If you're a conservative, you're like Tucker Carlson, right? And we find that other than social issues, we kind of grab on to the same big problems. And we're like, can we fix these big problems? Can we address this? Can we make our foreign policy great again instead of just allowing it to spin out of control? So the current president can wag the dog and the media can say, look at how tough this 79-year-old who can't walk up a flight of stairs, look how tough he is. Yeah, this isn't him, by the way. These are all the people that work for Barack Hussein Obama, and they're calling the shots. They're pulling the strings. This is all just gaslighting the masses with information. And we're supposed to now go from the thing-demic, the never-ending thing-demic. Notice how they're starting to retreat on all of that stuff. You get the governor of New Jersey lifting a mandate on school kids. He's going to let them breathe. What the heck is going on here? Oh, got a new narrative coming. We got to make room for that narrative. Like I always say, this is waterboarding the population with information, like negative, nasty. It's like radiation. Yeah, and I am talking about nuclear war. So this is like a precursor to the real thing, except the real thing will completely annihilate most of society. And we're willing to take that risk. The United States media, think of this, the United States media and the current administration, say what you want about Trump. He wanted to kind of make peace with Russia. He wanted to negotiate with them. He didn't want to badmouth them. He didn't want to line up more troops, although there were troops out there, but he wasn't ratcheting up the rhetoric every day, right? And it's like you look at these people and you blame what they're doing. You have to lay blame at the media and at this current administration. And quite honestly, administrations prior, like Obama and Bush and all of these people that are just, you know, Romney, who did this debate and he completely omitted China, talked about how Russia was the biggest geopolitical threat that we have. And this has been going on, I don't know, that was what, 2012, that debate. So it's been a decade of really just nonstop Putin bashing, and Russia is to blame for everything. We went through the Trump administration and it was Trump and Russia, Trump and Russia. Now it's, you know, Russia against Ukraine, and the Ukrainians are saying, no, they're not coming. And the rest of the world now has joined the United States saying, yes, he's coming. And Putin's like, don't do this. Don't do this. Now, do I think Putin should react the way he's reacting? No, of course not. I'm not saying that it's a good idea. It's a good idea for Vladimir Putin to launch a nuclear war, right? I'm saying we're doing everything in our power to provoke Russia. And we're going to sanction them too. That's another issue. We're going to throw down some sanctions on Russia. Oh boy, that's going to make our relationship with Russia so much better, right? Maybe they'll position their troops a little deeper into their country. See, Russia is not, you know, in how many countries, like how many countries are the United States in right now? It's just crazy. We've got military bases like all over the world, and we're stationed here and we're stationed there. If we're not a world empire, I don't know what would be considered that. People think of China and Russia, where they don't have the global presence that we do. And, you know, again, you set up shop in someone's backyard, and eventually the people are going to say, hey, how come these people are in our backyard? This looks a little suspicious. Can we get them out of here? And maybe Putin is saying, you know, I really don't care anymore. The world is going to hell as it is. A lot of Christians are like, yeah, this is it. We're done. We're toast. I mean, nuclear war, sure, wars and rumors of war And then you've got the plagues out there, or the manufactured plagues, or whatever you want to call it. The bottom line is there's so much here lining up where that war clock is going to hit midnight. And if it hits midnight, you can try to hide in your basement or do something. It ain't going to work. I mean, this is big time stuff. There are military targets all over the place. Our military targets here in the States and all over the world. They'll start in different places before they come here. But there are submarines, nuclear equipped submarines running around everywhere, and everybody's tracking everybody else. And you know what? Somebody screws up, and that could be a war too. There's a collision somewhere, or there's a launch somewhere that wasn't supposed to happen, and the whole thing goes up in smoke. So yeah, important topic, very important topic. A lot of small potatoes in the past here on this channel, but I think we're just gonna run the table and talk big stuff. And I don't think anything is bigger than nuclear war with Russia.